All right, we're live.
We're live.
Hello, what's going on, everyone? Today on Coaching Connection, we have Sarah. Sarah is not only my client, but my neighbor. In fact, if I look to the left here and open the blinds, I could probably see her talking. And for proof, I'll ask her a question. Did you just hear something go by?
I did just hear the ice cream truck go by, which is pretty fitting for
What
this
a treat.
conversation.
The title for today is how Sarah went from uncertainty to packing bikinis for her very own bachelorette party. And I know you're in marketing, and I picked the title to get more viewers. So my question to you is a bikini just simply a two-piece or like a risque type of swimsuit?
I think a bikini is a two-piece.
Okay.
Yeah,
So I was correct in that.
you were
Wow.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. Well, we will be talking about a few things in a second, but first off, Sarah and I have been working together for the last, I would say, about 5 months, and she is getting ready to get married. So I came up, oh, well, I repeated myself there, but looking at my notes. But my question, no, that's not it either. Wow, I'm really messing up here. I guess I'm nervous to talk.
That's okay.
Uh,
We roll with it.
I know this is terrible. So I know we kind of just did an icebreaker, but in the next minute, can you tell us who you're marrying, uh,
Sure.
how you guys met?
Yeah.
If you want to, and then what is the most stressful part of planning a wedding?
Sure. So I'm marrying a guy named Joey Bernardi. Um, I live with him in this house next to Matt. And we met the old-fashioned way of the new age, which is on Hinge.
Yep.
We met during the height of COVID. So that was a really interesting experience dating during that time. So I feel like we got serious pretty fast because it was like, so you're not seeing anybody else, and I'm not seeing anybody else because COVID. Um, and the most stressful part about wedding planning, I would say, is trying to think about what other people want on top of what we want when it comes to everything, not just the wedding day. But I think you get a lot of opinions about how you should live your life and how the wedding should be and during this time. And we're big people pleasers. So
Hmm.
I think that's been the most stressful and hardest and navigating.
Gotcha. Cool. And Joey's like one of the nicest guys I know as well. So you guys will be good together. And most importantly, he's ranked in the world as a bocce ball player. So you got that guy.
True. It's very true. He is.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, if you have not watched Coaching Connections, this is a way to figure out kind of how clients go about the whole coaching, right? Getting coached, how they accomplish their goals, how they went through adversities. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. And in the case of Sarah, we're working towards that, right? She's getting married. So my first question is, why did you decide to get a coach?
So you'll remember, I think it took me a little while to actually, we talked about it for a long time before I ended up fully signing up. I think that I made excuses for myself, like, well, I'm really busy right now. Well, I have a lot of events coming up and, oh, I won't be able to fit it in. And I think I finally, through a lot of encouragement from you as well, of saying, your life is your life. Like, we will fit this into your life. Um, and I think we did it with enough time lead up where I could get used to it, slowly build up to it. And I think the reason why I wanted a coach is, one, like, I want to feel really good for all of these wedding things coming up. And two, because I felt a little bit like because my schedule was all over the place, it felt like so much was happening. I really wanted a little bit of control over something that I was doing to make sure that I was leading up to this. So, and
Gotcha.
through conversations with you, it was a lot of, um, you know, you're always going to be busy. So like, let's start it and ease into it, because we both knew that if I was doing stuff too quickly, I was going to drop off quickly as well.
Yeah. And that's what I was just going to talk about. For those of you that don't know Sarah, she's like one of the busiest people outside of work as well. Since I have met her, I don't think I've seen her home for more than a minute. She's always got, family stuff or other stuff going on, and I think you have about 1,000 friends. So you're always doing something. But let's first talk about how did you maneuver through those busy times? Because I know that was a big conversation we had in the beginning. Uh,
Mhm.
I know, to be honest, right? I got a lot of messages to
Yeah.
like, "Hey, Matt, I'm sorry I messed up this week,"
Yep.
or "Hey, I drank for the last 2 weeks, but I'm gonna do a dry January, a dry
Yeah.
February." Right?
Yep.
So it was kind of all or nothing.
Mhm.
So how in the last 5 months or in the last couple months have you changed that thought process a little bit?
I think that as you said, thought it was always going to be all or nothing. So I had a really big mental block of, well, if I quote mess up or do something wrong on Friday night, the rest of my weekend was ruined.
Yeah.
Um, I think that I really had this like mental game with myself about what it meant to be, good. And I think that what really helped me in those moments is just better preparing. So even with this, with this check-in and how we've like the goals we're working towards, we have intermediary milestones, and it's not just the wedding. It's like the little things that we're leading up to. Um, so for me, it was figuring out those ways and those tactics. So one of the tips, I don't know if this is free tip season, I'm not going to take away your advice, but if I was going out to dinner, if I was going out drinking, it was okay, make sure that you're eating your protein ahead of time and preparing for those evenings. The type of drinks I should be drinking instead of like sugary stuff. It's okay, here are the right things. And I think those little changes really helped me and got me motivated to say, like, I can still do all of that and um keep my goals up and keep working at those things.
Yeah, good. I'm glad you talked about it and you're not giving away my secrets. Um, but yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It was like in the beginning, it was okay, you messed up Friday, right? Or messed up on the weekend. So your thought was, okay, I'm just gonna start again Monday. But
Mm,
kind of went in better prepared and said, okay, if you're gonna go out to dinner on Friday or Saturday or whatever it might be, let's prepare for breakfast. Let's prepare for lunch so that you can enjoy your dinner and
mhm,
not feel guilty about it, right? So we don't have to continue or keep starting over and over again, right?
absolutely.
Yeah. So the next thing being training. In the beginning, you were a little bit reluctant to start training, and you love your group fitness classes. For those that don't know, Sarah, another fun fact. Sorry, but you
Please.
are a group class junkie, right?
I really am.
It's I'll just admit it's a little difficult working with group class junkies because they all, how do I describe this? First off, they want results yesterday and they're
Yep.
always kind of looking for like what else there is, right? And that's just the personalities types, right?
Yeah.
So what made you decide that you wanted to train as well?
So again, I would say that you were really patient with me, knowing that, and I said it and I was upfront about how if I do too much at once, I'm not gonna pick it up. So it was very much a phased approach where I feel like I was starting to get my nutrition in check and get a handle on that. So then I was ready and able to add something else. I think the group fitness class to me also is I sign up for a time, and if I don't go, I'm charged, right? So there's that expectation where if I'm trying to do something on my own, I will always make an excuse like, okay, well, no, I'm going to sleep in, or, oh, I had a really busy day. I'm not going to go at the end of the day. So
Yeah.
it was easier for me to thinking, okay, I'm not going to do it. But I saw the value in what that could do by adding. And again, it wasn't 0 to 60. It was, okay, let's try to add 2 times a week. Let's give you a schedule. You heard me, like knowing the days that I could do it, knowing the days that were going to be the easiest for me to add in training. And you were realistic and you said you can keep your classes, they're additive. So let's build a program that helped and supported and facilitated that.
Yeah. And like you said at first, I'm glad you mentioned that. I think it would have been a little overwhelming for you, and you got the nutrition side down. There was a lot of like blocks to work with, right? We went over sleep, we went over stress, we went over like what good eating looks like. So
Mm-hmm.
on I think adding everything at once would have been a little stressful on top of whatever else you were doing, right? Planning for a wedding, work and things like that. So it worked out well. Um, and like you said, we kept a few classes. You eliminated some at the same time, right? And we just picked what was beneficial for you, and we created a program based off of that. Uh,
Yes.
so, what have you enjoyed so far with actually lifting weights?
Um, the thing that I've loved the most is that I'm so much stronger than I think I am. And it is so the best feeling is when I say to myself, okay, try to go up to the next weight. Um, and then I do it. And even if I don't finish the full set, it's like, wow, look at what you can do. Um, I am sounding like a very like intimidated person, and I don't feel like I am, but when I'm out of my element, obviously I am. I was so intimidated going to the gym at first.
Yeah.
Um, because I always felt like the people who were going to the gym knew exactly what they were doing. Um, but what was helpful is like you gave me the videos and all of that. So I studied the videos before going to the gym so I could feel very confident about where I had to be, made a plan for myself. Um, and if I was still nervous, I would spend 15, 20 minutes on the treadmill, walking, getting a lay of the land and making sure, okay, that area is really busy. I'm going to wait until later to do that. Or that area is, freed up. That's where I'm going to plot my stuff down. So I've just really enjoyed like feeling um self-motivated and holding myself accountable and just feeling really just strong in the gym.
Good. And do you feel like I know we talked a little bit about your progress, right? You said you've definitely felt like you've gained strength. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
do you think that's also resulted in kind of how you wanted to look, I guess, in the sense that you're gonna get toned, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I absolutely see it. I, again, was someone who was so motivated by numbers on a scale.
Mm.
And even if I feel like I'm within, 5 pounds, 3 pounds of this range, I can absolutely see the difference in my tone, in my body. And it's different than it has been before, even when, we all fluctuate and during different times and when I'm busier, when we're all busier and we're going out and we're eating and all of that.
Yeah.
I've never felt this toned before. And I think it is really because, I mean, it's a combination of everything, like simple, we all hear it. It's like, okay, you got to do both, but really seeing it in the tone definition, even if I don't see it as a number.
Gotcha. And I think a lot of people like when they first, when I first talk to them, it's okay, what have you tried to get to your goals? Let's say it is getting tone, right? If you want to call it that, or losing weight or losing body fat. Um, tone equates to oftentimes restricting calories,
Mhm.
doing more cardio, doing more group classes that are high intensity, right? But we don't think about getting tone as more so putting on muscle and
Mhm.
maybe lifting more and putting on strength, right? Um, so that's one of the things I've often had against uh, some of the group classes. Not hating it on
Mhm.
at all, but it's I wish that they would program them to where you would progress weekly by trying to lift more, right?
Totally.
By getting better at your form, by getting better at range, by adding more reps. The things that we're doing would make a good group class because, like you said, you've seen strength like you haven't before, and that's because we have kind of followed a structured program and worked on those things, right? Instead of just trying to throw the kitchen sink at you and,
Totally.
and trying to figure it out that way. So,
Totally.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and when you first started, you came to me very much throwing everything out at once, right? I think you were running a ton.
Yeah.
I think you were working a lot, right? Stress with the holidays. You
Yep.
were restricting. It was always restrict, restrict, restrict. And the problem is your body becomes, it's tense, right? It doesn't react well to that. So
Yep.
you're just adding more stress. And I think we've done a good job so far at addition from subtraction. So, or subtraction from addition, or however you say that.
Yeah.
But we have taken stuff away and we have added stuff, both good and bad, right? And found what works for you.
Mhm.
With that being said, let's see, where was I? Because I got a ton of notes on you. So I got like 10 pages.
I'm a studied person, let me tell you. I'm a very complicated.
Can't pause the video or anything like I do for your check-ins, but what I wanted to talk about is like overall, how do you feel in general? What things have you learned thus far, and what's been a benefit overall of doing this?
Um, Something I will say about the group class mentality, I think, or what I would say as someone like 6 months ago, a year ago, I wanted really fast results. Like, look at what I'm doing today, and I should see it tomorrow. Or like, I had such a good week. Why didn't I see results the next week? Um, so what I have learned is that it really does take time, and it has taken my body like a lot of time to get used to the different like protein and carbs and all of that. And I have, done things, um the very restrictive diets, the yo-yo dieting and all of that. Like, I've done all of that, and knowing that I had a long leeway to wedding activities, all of that, I really wanted to, and I toyed with it for such a long time. I mean, like I was on the fence about it for probably a good 3 months, until I was finally like, no, I need to try something to keep me consistent. And so I've just learned, I mean, listen, yes, getting toned, but I've also lost weight. I've lost body fat, all of that. And I think if I wasn't measuring myself once every 4 weeks, 5 weeks, if I wasn't, I hate getting on the scale, but I'm not getting on the scale every day. I'm getting on the scale twice a week. Like, I just am really impressed with the consistency because I really didn't think that I could do it. And I hope I'm easier on myself. If I have a day where, I had a big dinner. Well, okay, I made sure that I was eating right and tracking all of that earlier in the day so that I could enjoy um that big dinner, or that splurge, or what I would used to call like a bad meal. Yeah.
Great. Yeah, and I think it's important for people to know also that it's not always going to be perfect too, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of weeks where we haven't got to logging perfectly, right? Or there's weeks where you travel and you've enjoyed yourself too. So that's important to note. There's also weeks where you have to change around workout days or can't get to workouts. Or we just don't have everything together always, but you're trying in some aspect, right? Instead of giving up, right?
Exactly.
Or not doing anything for a couple weeks,
Mhm.
you just do what you can. And because of that, we've been able to make progress instead of starting over again, right? Continuously. And I think that's kind of what yo-yo dieting is you're always looking for that quick fix. But if you just take, I guess, more so the long-term approach, it's actually faster.
Yeah.
That's definitely something that I've seen you work through.
Mhm.
Um, and with that being said, is there anything else that you want to add, or is there anything else that you would like people to know or talk about? Could be anything.
Anything. Okay.
About your wedding, it could be more about like the things that I don't know you like to eat that you still struggle with. Yeah.
Um, so I tried one of those meal programs. And I won't plug it, but I tried one of the meal programs, and even with that, it took me 3 weeks to find the right meals for myself that fit within my program. Um, I think that had definitely has been helpful in terms of like keeping track. That was an easy way for me to like not think about it if I was having, and of course, as because life goes this way, as my personal life has become really stressful, like work has become really busy, and it's hard when you're in meetings all day. And you know, you can't prep the way that you want to, you can't. And so that was something really simple and easy to work into my routine. It's not sustainable because it's expensive, but for the time being, when work is really busy, like I'm really happy to like spend the money on those types of meals. It's actually not that bad if you get all the deals and the discounts. So that's been really helpful. Cash back through
Yeah.
Rakuten, you get
Uh-oh,
cash back.
somebody.
Um, there you go. That plug. Gotta get that plug in. Um, what else have I learned? I think that point that you just made, even if I'm not, you know, logging everything all the time, like dinner is hard, right? I don't know what butters or oils if I go out to dinner.
Yeah,
Um,
and before you go any further, I think mentioning meal preps is important
yes,
because we just talked about it like a week ago. You said you thought it
yeah,
was time to stop, right? And I said maybe we shouldn't do that, right? Because
you
I
did.
you're going to be stressed out leading up to your bachelorette party, and you have work and you're trying to balance everything. So the whole point of the meal preps were to use when you were busy, right? And
Right.
you were worried about, it having too much fat and whatever. And I said, that's fine. Let's just keep fat a little higher, adjust the carbs, and it's ending up working out for you.
Yeah.
So
And
uh,
you did. We adjusted my
we
fat
just, yeah,
grams, my protein grams, all of that to make it work.
it was
Um,
perfectly fine.
Yeah, it's perfectly fine. I'm still tracking, losing weight, feeling really good. Um, yeah, I think the other thing is uh I definitely need accountability, and Joey is absolutely a great accountability partner, but we have much different goals. He's a foot taller than me, and you know, like it's just very different. Um and so what I really appreciated is that, you know, I didn't feel like I had to like make an excuse anymore with you. It was just like, this is what's happening because I trusted like when I said this, you would have a plan of action for what would come next. So even with the factor meals, I complained to you like, oh my God, the fat grams are so high. Like it's not working. And you were the one to say, okay, well, if the fat grams are high, but it's working for you, like let's just adjust the other part of it so that you can keep that going because we are on such a hot streak with it. So that was, I think the accountability and like the check-ins with you have been really important because I'm such an excuse maker. So you got to call like you're not calling me out, but you are like saying, okay, well, if this is working, let's keep going. How do I make it work for you? Yeah, so that's been a big help too, of course.
Yeah. And I think you've learned a ton through it. For one, just getting better at, again, the all or nothing, getting better at knowing that you don't have to beat yourself up the next week. You just pick it right back up
Yep.
where you started, right? So you don't have to run more, you don't have to, whatever, eat less.
Mhm.
In fact, during this whole time, we've added more as far as food goes because, like I mentioned in the beginning, you just threw everything at your body. And I was like, man, you're not really feeding yourself according to what your schedule looks like for
Mhm.
workouts, for work. There's a lot of stress going on, and not eating a lot is
Yeah.
also stressing you out. So I think it's kind of cool that we added to your nutrition instead of took anything or took something away, right? And we still got the results. We didn't rapidly lose weight or anything. We've
Yep.
steadily lost weight, and at the same time, you've lost body fat and you've put on muscle, right? So that's pretty cool. So
Mhm.
great job. That's it. Do you want to add anything else?
I don't know. Hmm.
Nothing. Uh,
Not
you, you don't have to.
fun.
Where are you going for your bachelorette party?
I'm going to San Diego,
Yeah.
which is why this is from no confidence to bikinis. What was it?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Not
But
necessarily.
I mean, that was the goal. Like, and I think that's what I really have appreciated is that we're keeping it realistic and you know, at the beginning of all of this, it was let's look at the next few months and what work trips do you have coming up? What other trips? And you're right, I live a busy life simply because half of my life is on the East Coast. So it's difficult. And I think I had this idea on like, okay, well, travel looks like this. Okay. But it could also look like this. So you remember my first work trip, it was, okay, I'm not going to have time to work out or, I don't know if there's a gym or I can't work it in. And your response was, okay, it wasn't, okay, great, then you're off. It was, okay, let's do an in-room workout that you just do 3 times. And I did it and it felt great. I felt so much more confident the rest of the trip. And even on that trip, it was, okay, like you're going to be in a hotel room for 4 days. Like, should you pack some beef jerky or some bars that you really like? And it was so helpful. I like can't believe those small little changes help so much. And that definitely motivated me throughout it. Like that was in January.
Right.
Um, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing all that.
Thanks, Matt.
Yeah, so do us a favor because everybody's gonna want to see your progress. So when
Yes.
you're by the pool in your bikini, drinking your drinks, send us a photo and we will share your progress throughout this time.
Amazing.
All right.
Will do.
All right. We'll have a good time and we will talk to you soon.
Thanks, Matt. I'll log my snack right now.
Okay. Bye. See ya.